8 o'clock in the morning, I'll have fish and a rice cake.
Okay, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about how you can go against the norm in 2024.
Yeah, or just how to be better than it.
Yeah.
Because it's probably a bit easier than people think.
Yeah, much easier.
The bar for what is deemed as normal nowadays, when it comes to training, fitness, nutrition, is so low.
It's pretty low.
It's really, really low. And I know you've got some stats, haven't you, that you sent an email out about this the other day.
I did, yeah. It kind of stemmed because I actually kind of made a post about this ages ago, and this is where it all stemmed from initially, and just kind of got me thinking about shit. Was one of my clients basically said to me that they were in like the office at work or whatever, and they pulled out their salad whilst everyone else is eating the fucking Greggs and all that kind of stuff. And it was my client who actually said it was her little kind of like moment to realize that the norm is just fucked, basically. Because she kind of said to me, like, everyone was like, "Oh, on a diet, are you?" And she's like, and she was just a bit like, "Oh no, I'm just eating a salad. Like, I'm just eating like some healthy food." And like everyone else is there with the fucking pasties and everything else.
Yeah, yeah.
And she realised that it was her who said it to me. I was like, fucking hell, like, that's a great observation. That's when I started researching things a little bit more. And she was like, she realised that the norm is to be unhealthy.
Yeah.
Like the norm is to be out of shape.
Yeah.
Like these people, and I think she said, they go out on like 6 cigarette breaks a day at work. Like the norm is to do that. It's not normal to sit there with a salad and to have a bit of fruit or whatever, to eat kind of decent quality food.
Yeah.
Go to the gym, walk around a bit, take the stairs rather than fucking elevator. Like just really simple things, which are classed as not doing the norm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember years back when I was working in the gym, there was a lady that I spoke to there, and she's trained and competed her whole life. She's in phenomenal shape, and she works in healthcare.
Yeah.
And she used to repeatedly tell me stories at work of how she was known as the weird one at work because she'd always just take her own food. And it would just be like chicken salads, tuna salads, whatever it was. But because she wasn't having the norm of sandwich, crisps, a chocolate bar, she sort of stood out like a sore thumb. And everyone sort of referred to her as the weird one.
But that's it.
It's mad, isn't it?
It's crazy. And like, I was speaking to one of my male clients and he was saying, he's always people always think he's weird when he has like a protein shake at work and stuff. And I'm like, I mean, I kind of get it. It's like, with supplements maybe a little bit more, but when you're just eating like a healthy bit of food. Don't be wrong. Like, listen, me and you were doing a fucking food challenge, like where we're eating pizza, burgers and stuff. I'm not saying don't eat this stuff. Like, we love that stuff as much as the next person. But what we're trying to say is here is I think it's become normal for your everyday life to almost be like that.
Well, it has, and that's not through the fault of the individual. That is just how the life and society is set up. At
Society,
everything is convenience. Everything's beige.
They've just kind of
just like quick on the go, grab it, don't think about it.
Even where we live now, they've just introduced those co-op robots. Have you seen them?
Oh, I've seen.
Yeah. So like you can get them at ours now. I mean, I live next door to a co-op pretty much, so I'd be pretty lazy if I got one of them. But like you see them just like mooching around, and I'm like, even like the next road to me, and I'm like, so that's come from one road away.
Yeah.
And like again, I'm not necessarily blaming the person, but it's just the way that life is now. It's normal to sit in your house rather than walk 2 minutes and get a fucking robot to drop off some chocolate. I mean, most people do it on like Uber Eats or whatever, but you know what I mean? Like, that's just the society we live in now.
It's just so easy to not do anything.
Not do anything. And it's just the way the world's set up. And, even going back to when we were kids, like if we wanted to get like a takeaway or something, like a fish and chip, we'd walk there and get it. Like, I don't know, it sounds ridiculous, but you'd walk there. Now, nobody does that. Like, it's all delivered. It's all kind of like just tap your finger, boom, it's there. So I think that the way that the kind of society is like normal now is to be out of shape, is to be unhealthy, is to not go to the gym. And you're almost the abnormal one if you go to the gym a few times a week, if you go for a walk on your lunch break, if you eat a salad. And it's like, well, what we're trying to say is like, if that's abnormal, like fucking fuck being normal, fuck being normal. Like you prefer to go against the norm.
Yeah, because generally, 9 times out of 10 as well, the people that fall into that category of being normal and being a little bit out of shape, like, you'd be hard pressed to find one that says that they're happy with that as well. Like most of the time, like, oh, I wish I could do something about it, but I can't for whatever reason, X, Y, Z, perfectly legitimate reasons sometimes, whatever, like not throwing shade at them. But it's weird that it still seemed as the weird thing to do, to look after yourself and to be healthy, even though the benefits you get of feeling better for doing that, feeling healthy, having more energy, being a bit more confident and all these kind of things is what everybody wants to feel. But yet it still seemed as like the abnormal thing to do.
I wonder if there's like a bit of a, like a psychological thing there. And I suppose even going back to when I was young, like when I first started going to the gym and start maybe, I suppose, making slightly better choices when all my mates going out and getting pissed and stuff. I was still doing that as well, don't get me wrong. But, making slightly better choices around my health and things. Even then, like if you almost kind of have to go through like an uncomfortable period to a certain extent of like changing the way that you do things and viewing that as your new normal. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you definitely do. Like, there's going to be a period of time where you
judged a little bit and
you feel a little bit, maybe not isolated, but you do feel like you stand out a little bit. Maybe depends on the social group that you've got, but in the social group that you've got, and like I mean, I've said this on the podcast loads before. Like, I sort of started looking after myself and training before we started going out and drinking and socializing, and I've never been massive on the drinking side of things. So like, it was always something I was doing.
It was
anyway.
an easier thing for you.
Even though when we were teenagers, and it was a bit like, fucking hell, you're not drinking. Like, why are you not drinking and everything? Like, I only had that for like a year.
Yeah.
And then from about 19 years old, it was like, within my group of mates, it was like, well, that's just what I do. Like, for me now, if I go somewhere and drink, it's weirder.
Yeah.
For them, like, they're more surprised.
Yeah.
But that's just because that's just how I've always been. So you do have to go through, or you don't have to go through it, but if you do try and improve your habits, go against the norm, there will be a period of time where potentially people will question what you're doing or why you're doing. Certainly, potentially try and stop you from doing that.
Yeah, whether they mean to do it, whether it's done on purpose or not, like we've spoken about this in the past. Like, you go to your fucking mum and dad, like my mum and dad still do it with me, and like, like they're just kind of like, they're feeders, like they just like, oh, you look thin, Jake, like, what you doing, why you diet, like, and it's like people just do that, and I think sometimes they don't do it on purpose. But you are always met with that little bit of friction because, again, you're viewed as doing something which is slightly abnormal, even though it shouldn't be. I think what we're trying to say is viewing your normal as slightly different, and making your normal, going to the gym a few times a week, or doing some form of, like, doing whatever you want to do in terms of movement, going out for a walk on your lunch break, and just like making that your norm. It's just about making the vast majority of your decisions slightly better.
Yeah, like we said, I think the bar to entry on being slightly above the normal or doing slightly more than the normal is so low. Yeah,
I was just thinking about, I remember listening to one of Mike and Dan's podcasts, and I think Mike said someone's standards are lower than Stephen Hawking's high jump. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty certain that's what he said.
Yeah, I think I've heard him say that before. But it is true, and it's like, and I think a lot of people come in sometimes when it comes to looking after themselves and trying to be healthy, they come into it with the approach and the mindset of, okay, well, what's the minimum I could do to try and improve my health, my physique, drop some body fat. And again, it's kind of like, well, if you're going into something only looking to do the minimum, you're probably going to fail at even doing that. Like, if you aim for the bare minimum and you fall short of it, you're not doing anything. Whereas, why not aim to do a little bit more? Why not aim to see how much you can do? And then if you do fall short of it, well, it's all right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you're still doing something.
Well, we do that with our clients, don't we? So if I have a client come in and say, oh, I think it's always great for people to have like goal weights and goal targets and stuff like that. So when they come in and give me those, I'm like, right, let's raise the bar a bit, because even if we fall short, we're going to be in a fucking really good place. Yeah. So I feel like it's always better to have a larger target than maybe you even think you're capable of to a certain extent, because when you fall short of it, and most people don't, because that's one of the reasons we coach them. But if you fall short of it, you're still going to be in a really, really good spot. Yeah. So it's better to have higher standards and larger targets and bigger goals, and then is it aim for the moon,
fall amongst the stars.
Fall amongst the stars.
Yeah,
a bit cheesy, but yeah. Yeah,
you're gonna clip that bit out, aren't you, for socials, and put some nice filter over it and some background music.
We'll get like a dark filter on it.
Like you were saying this year, even just tidying up 2 out of your 3 meals a day, going for a 20-minute walk a day, and going to the gym once or twice a week, you're above the average. Yeah, like you're literally above the average.
And talking of the average, I mean, so as I got kind of thinking about this, I started doing some research, and I went into like stats and stuff like that. So, and it's pretty fucking crazy. I couldn't believe this, to be fair. So, these are the current stats. 68% of men, and bearing in mind BMIs a lot of the time can be a bit skewed, because if someone's got a load of muscle tissue, then it's not carrying too much fat. But anyway, 68% of men in the UK are classed as obese. 60% of women in the UK are classed as obese. 34.4% of children are now classed as obese. And ward admissions in the UK for obesity are 3,000 a day, which is double in the last kind of like 3 to 4 years, I think. Obese people are 70% more likely to suffer from mental health issues, according to studies. I just found those stats fucking mental.
High.
Like, scary, though.
Yeah.
But again, it's like, again, you know, I know that BMI isn't everything we should be working from here, but, like, fuck me. That's mad. And I just think that that's the society that we're in. Again, I'm not saying it's anyone's fault. It's not. I think it's just the world we live in, you know. It's just designed for convenience, and it's designed to make you lazy to a certain extent. And, you know, it's very easy nowadays to just grab something cheap and quick and not good for you, really.
Yeah. Even just like we've not had the car for the past week because it needed some work doing. You feel like you lose your legs.
Yeah.
'Cause you're literally just like, not only can I not go anywhere, if I have to nip up to the shop like I had to do to get a few bits, I was like, fucking, I've got to walk to the shop now.
Yeah.
And I've got to carry it all back home.
Yeah.
Shop's 5 minutes away, 10 minutes away maybe for a walk.
But then if you think...
And it just feels like such an effort.
But if you go back... I don't know, listen, fucking hell, I don't know how far you'd have to go back when not everyone had cars. Not that long ago, I would imagine. Like, people, that would just be... The norm would be to go to the shop and walk back.
Yeah.
And
But it was the norm for us when we were growing up.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if you wanted to go, you wouldn't think
I know.
twice about it.
And I even little things like when I think I was part of like potentially the last generation. I know I'm like almost 10 years older than you.
Oh,
34.
yeah, not far off.
8 years.
Yeah.
So even when I was young, we spent every single day just playing out on the field,
Yeah.
like till
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
dark, like playing manhunt, playing football. Like my mum had to drag me in it, you know, when it was going dark, like literally every single night. And I don't see that anymore. Like it's weird, isn't it? Like kids just sitting on the games and stuff, and like I just think it's a different world. We sound so fucking old. I sound so fucking old saying this, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it probably would be quite weird though if you did still spend a lot of your time watching kids play out. Probably better than you.
I never used to watch it. I was a kid, but no, you know, like I'm saying, you don't notice it.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
I live
you
in the
don't.
same area.
Yeah.
And the fields that I used to play on, like, there's no fucking kids playing out on those anymore.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. I just think it's a different world, mate.
So if you do want to improve your physique this year or be slightly above the average, which is what Jake says he is, it's not that difficult. It really isn't that difficult.
You know, try and go against the norm a little bit. You know, and almost kind of challenge yourself to do that.
Yeah.
So like, you know, if someone is offering a pizza around the office, and it's the normal thing to say yes, why don't you just say no and be like, you know, fucking no, I'm gonna have my food that I thought, you know, I prepped, or I'm gonna go get my salad from the shop, whatever it is. Like I keep saying salad, you don't have to eat fucking salads, but do you know what I mean? Like just
I don't
make
really
the
like salad.
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't even eat them, but like, you know, it's just healthy in it. So just try and think a little bit differently about it. And again, you know, if that means going for a walk on your lunch break, rather than just sitting there and doing what you normally do, or going to the gym a few times a week, fuck it, like go against the norm.
Yeah, and the people that will sort of try and question you on what you're doing, or maybe not intentionally, but try and sort of pull it down or sort of degrade it a little bit, they will literally always be the first people to ask you how you did it when you end up looking class. Like when you end up getting a result and you're happy with how you're looking and you can see a physical difference and people are like, wow, you know, you've lost weight. They will be the first people to ask, how have you done that?
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
And you literally sit there like, you've watched me do it every day
You know
for the
when
past 6
you know when
months.
you offered me that piece when I said no?
Yeah, that's how I did it.
That over and over again. So yeah, listen, be different this year, guys. Shoot for the moon, fall amongst the stars.
There you go. That's all the motivation you need.
See you in the next one.
In a bit.